I was raised by superior beings. With infinite wisdom and boundless knowledge, I knew I was safe in their care. When I was only a little one, they promised that, one day, I would be like them too. The idea excited me, although I had a hard time truly believing it. Their worldview was so peculiar to me. They confronted frustration with patience and disrespect with compassion, while I struggled not to explode into a tantrum at the slightest provocation. They always had an answer, and I knew in my heart they would never let anyone harm me. Even when I acted out, I could feel their love embrace me, almost tangible through my anger. They taught me lessons, too. My primary caretakers, whom I affectionately referred to as Mom and Dad, they taught me new things every day. They were my greatest sanctuary, as they knew my limits best. Unfortunately, they could not teach me all there was to learn. So they shared this responsibility with other beings. I was educated in every possible area. Life skills such as emotional maturity and social behavior, as well as academic pursuits such as mathematics and the arts. I drank in all the wisdom and knowledge my tiny mind could, hoping infinity wasn't too far off. To me, the world was full of wonder and charm. My naive mind rejected the somber warnings my caretakers offered, choosing to remain blind to the evils that lurked every corner. In my head, it was foolish to live in fear of something I never had and never would encounter. Looking back, it was more foolish to brazenly turn my back on the truth that I simply didn't want to be true. After a day of academia, I looked forward to my final lesson in the arts. I had recently graduated from watercolor to oil painting, a much more refined medium, as I was excited to explore the new manner of expression. Not that any little one has much that needs to be expressed, but I felt as though I was special, more refined than my peers. Didn't we all? The truly fatal flaw in my manner of thought, though, wasn't my egocentric attitude, but my blind trust. Surely, if I had simply opened my eyes to the truth, I would have seen the evil that walked brazenly among us, the little ones. Remorseless, he peeked at my creation over my shoulder. Authoritatively, he suggested a different tool I should use. Cunningly, he offered to show me where it was, in the back room. Malevolently, he locked the door behind us. I had felt anxious about this idea from the start, but stupidly I brushed this instinct aside. After all, hadn't I nothing to fear from this perfect, caring being? Had they not done nothing but protect and support me, even sacrifice themselves for me? It would be silly now to abandon this trust in favor of fear and suspicion. You see, I wanted to please them so badly, and to fail them would be to fail my dream of being like them one day. So I did my best to cast away my fears. I tried not to flinch as he moved closer to stroke my hair. I tried not to squirm as he slid his hand up my shirt. I tried to ignore the bile rising in my throat as his hair brushed over my cheek and my collarbone. I tried to suppress my tears as his fingers slid down the hairless mound of my pubic bone into the area that I myself had yet to discover. He told me it was okay, that I was okay, that this was okay. He asked me to tell him that I was okay, and I did because I had to be. This must be just another lesson. The first one I ever felt like I might fail, so I pretended that I was okay with his hands all over me and his whispers in my ear, and my mind evacuated, drifting away from my body until the ordeal was over. As it turns out, those beings I wished so much to be like weren't perfect at all. As I grew closer to becoming one, I was vexed to find my knowledge far from infinite, my wisdom bound tightly. Many, like Mom and Dad, are truly filled with love and compassion beyond measure. However, it turns out the greatest monstrosities don't hide in the shadows of the abandoned house down the street or under the grass of a darkened cemetery. No, the real monsters are everywhere. Maybe your neighbor. Maybe your friend. Maybe you met one like I did, or maybe your own little one will. These monsters, they're inescapable. The worst kind of haunting. The kind that invades your thoughts just to tell you you're worthless. The kind that traces his territory in goosebumps on your body every time you think of him, just to remind you that you're used and you're his. The kind that forces you to push love away when you really need to be held. The kind that rapes a 5-year-old girl in his art class after school and tells her it's okay.